This is Akashvani. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on Union Cabinet decisions. The participants are Harvir Singh, agriculture expert, and Dhawan, anchor.
Hello and welcome to our program. We are delighted to have with us today Mr. Harvir Singh having a conversation with us on some of the cabinet decisions that were taken today. Harvirji, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
So agriculture, Harvirji, has been an area where the government has been wanting to, from the beginning, can impact, improve lives of farmers, whether it's raising the MSPs and getting MSPs in order, crop diversification, a lot of focus. And today's, in fact, two of the cabinet decisions were related to this sector. So we'll start with that. The government has approved the nutrient-based subsidy, NBS rates, for the Rabi season 2023-24 on phosphatic and potassic fertilizers applicable from the 1st of October this year till the 31st of March next year. So Harvirji, talking about this and in keeping in line with the other things, so first of all, maybe wanting to share with our listeners, what is this nutrient-based subsidy? What does that mean?
Yes, actually we have two categories of subsidy for fertilizer. One is for urea, nitrogenous fertilizer, and another one is nutrient-based subsidy. Nutrient-based subsidy is basically government gives on nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus, potash, and sulfur. So these fertilizer are in the category of decontrolled fertilizer, and we call them the complex fertilizer, where different ratio of these nutrients are there. For that, government gives subsidy based on the nutrient per kg subsidy on all these nutrients, and industry manufactures this complex fertilizer and fix the price. If you go to the market rate, the price will be very high, but government has advised that price should remain within the reach of the farmers. So basically companies keeps the price very low in the reach of the common farmer, and the gap filled by the subsidy given by the government. We are giving a huge subsidy on this decontrolled fertilizers so that farmer gets fertilizer at a very reasonable price and it doesn't brings a burden for them as input. So it is basically to making their life easy in terms of as a farmer, as a producer of crops, so that their income remains on the better side.
So when we talk of this cabinet decision, it is of course keeping in tune and in line with other similar decisions taken to ease the lives and remuneration for farmers. Keeping all this in view, where do you think Indian agriculture today, because there is a lot of global uncertainty, markets are really also struggling across and economies are struggling, where do you think this places the Indian farmer in terms of actually being able to provide, because they are the food grain suppliers to the country?
See, actually our policy keeps ourselves as a big producer, and when government gives this kind of subsidy, it is a very important element for the production of agricultural producers for the food security of the country. If you see, when there was a huge volatility in the international market for fertilizer prices 1.5 years back, and prices crossed $1,000 per ton for DAP, and urea prices also reached around $900 per ton. At that time, government increased the subsidy in a big way, and for the last financial year, our subsidy budget was 2.25 lakh crore. This year also it is also around 1.75 lakh crore. So it means the huge subsidy is supposed to be given on fertilizer to keep farmers engaged in the farming activity, because fertilizer is a very important component for a crop production. It is a very important nutrient for crops. So in that case, if farmers are getting such a huge subsidy, that's why there are many things like a normal monsoon and irrigation facilities, but on the side of input, seeds and fertilizer are a very important component. And among them, fertilizer is a very costly input. And if you see countries in our neighborhood as well as the developed countries, fertilizer prices are very high in these countries compared to our country, at which price farmers are getting fertilizer for their crop. So in that case, this policy, continuity of the policy, and whenever there is a price shock in the global market, government absorbs the shock and protects the farmer from the price rise of the fertilizer. So that policy is basically rewarding us in terms of a very good food security for the country. Farmers are producing, we have sufficient food. In fact, we are a big supplier in the global market. We last financial year, we exports almost, our market share was 40% in the global market of rice export. So we are producing for ourselves, our farmers are basically making the requirement for the country as well as for the export market. So it is possible only when we have a policy which is rewarding to the farmer for produce food grain and other crops.
Wanting to understand from you on the flip side, one of the reasons why we are competitive in food grain exports and other food item exports is also because of the subsidy, because otherwise that's how prices are also kept more competitive. And does this also have an effect on the internal inflation? Because if this goes up and cost of food grains really goes high, it is going to affect inflation also.
Yes, you are absolutely right. There are two factors. One is government is giving a huge subsidy on fertilizer to keep the input cost low. And another factor is point is that government fix the minimum support price for major crops and do massive procurement of these crops so that farmers are assured that their produce will get them the right price. And at the same time, when government has the stocks, government is in the position to control the prices, to intervene in the market. One thing is that through public distribution system, government provides food grain and other food products at a very reasonable, at a very low price to make country food secure. Basically, the food in their reach, and it has a direct impact on the inflation. One is that at a very low price, government is providing food grain available to the poor section of the society and the common man. On the other hand, when government gives subsidies and keep the price input cost low, it is beneficial thing for the farmer, and there is a check on the inflation. Otherwise, globally, what we are witnessing at this moment, food grain inflation is very high. But our internal inflation of food grain is not very high and it is under control. And government has these tools basically. We have massive buffer stocks in central pool. And if you see, the government is selling food grain in the market at a very reasonable price to keep the prices low for a common man or those who are not taking food grain through the low price PDS, but even going to the market at market price. The market prices are low because government directly intervening through open market sale scheme. Government is selling wheat, government is selling rice, so that market prices are not going up.
Wanting to draw your attention now, Harvirji, to the other decision, the Cabinet Committee on Economic Affairs CCEA has given a nod to the inclusion of the Jamrani Dam Multipurpose Project of Uttarakhand under the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana Accelerated Irrigation Benefit Program. In taking a larger bird's eye view of, and a lot of these schemes and the additional ones are being now brought under one integrated umbrella, what is the aim of actually, bringing all these schemes together under one umbrella? And secondly, how far does this really go in meeting the demand for irrigation?
Irrigation is the most important input for growing crops in any place, for the country. It is the most important factor for the farmer. If farmer has assured irrigation facility, he can grow any crop which suits to that climate condition and whatever he wants to grow, which gets him better price and better production. One, there is a direct impact on the yield of crop. Direct impact with irrigation, any land become multi-crop land, any field, so that it gives more benefit to the farmer. And through this kind of schemes, when government brings under one umbrella, there is a scheme, this Accelerated Irrigation Benefit Program, where government focuses on those projects, which projects are basically, if you are going to complete the project, they're in the last stage of the completion, and government pumps more fund or provides more resources timely so that project gets completed, and the benefit of the irrigation projects basically farmers starts getting the benefit of the project. So in this case of this project, the farmer from Uttarakhand and Uttar Pradesh will benefit to get irrigation facilities, and definitely it will have a very big impact on agricultural production in that area. Basically upliftment on economic front to the farmers for a better income the farmer, because canal irrigation is one of the low cost irrigation facility. At the same time, it is environmentally it is also good, because if you have a canal irrigation, you don't need to draw water from the land, so that it is good. It keeps the water table at a good level. Environmentally it is good, economically it is good.
You're absolutely right, because groundwater depletion is an issue. So also wanting to understand the gap between the irrigation potential created through these major and minor projects and the actual usage is increasing. And this is an ICAR report which says, and this uneven distribution of water over the length of the canal system and reducing availability of water compounded by climate change. So keeping all this scenario in mind and the increasing requirement for irrigation, where are we positioned actually in saying that yes, we can say that we have confidently taken some large step to mitigate this?
Actually, it is the right time we have to move towards the technological upgradation in irrigation facilities. The traditional way to irrigate the fields, like this flood irrigation, consumes a lot of water. If the with same quantity of water, basically we can increase multiple time of the area under irrigation if we use the sprinkler and drip irrigation system, and that is good for the crop also. Crop production is also good in that case. Many governments and central government also gives subsidy, and state governments also give subsidy for drip and sprinkler irrigation. It reduces the water consumption heavily, so that when we have the same quantity of water, we can irrigate more and more area. For that, we have to move towards technological upgradation, and even this canal system also we have to find out a way, even for this irrigation system. So I think judicious use of water is important in agricultural production, is the way forward for us.
Coming now to the third decision, and you speaking of technology, this is linked to that Memorandum of Cooperation MOC between India and Japan on the Japan-India Semiconductor Supply Chain Partnership has also been approved by the government.
You rightly mentioned that technology is very important, and this technology of present and future is semiconductor technology. It is being used widely in every sphere of life as well as in the economy, whether manufacturing or even from normal thing to like a scooter or vehicle or our wristwatch or to space or to anything, everywhere. Now it is a very big thing, and we need that India is going to be more and more self-reliant in this kind of technology. We need value chain in the country. If we have that kind of arrangement with any advanced technology manufacturer or those who have the technology and produce semiconductor products, so it is good for us because India is a huge consumer of semiconductor products. Our economy is growing very fast. In the near future, we are going to the third largest economy of the world, and consumption level is very high for all goods and services. And this technology is being used in every aspect of life and the uses and the economy. So that's why semiconductor is very important. If we strengthen ourselves in the supply chain of semiconductor, it is good for the country and the economy, and it has the good potential to create more and more jobs also within the country.
What about the use of semiconductors in the field of agriculture? Are we making some strides over there? Are there some usages? Because this is an area not very many of us know about.
Yes, now when we talk about smart agriculture and precision agriculture, so there are a lot of products now. We use the sensors, we use drones, and we capture the data of the crop data at multiple stages, and even now we have that kind of sensors which basically captures from the air the data of basically the fertility of the soil or the nutrient requirement of the soil, the growth of the plant, and any disease and pest attacking the plant. So all these things, and what time the irrigation is required. Globally, IoT, AI, all these things are going to be a very big role to play in agriculture. And it is also starting basically that we are also adopting that kind of technology for Indian agriculture also.
You're absolutely right, because, India is in a unique position. We have centuries old agricultural practices. We're trying to move in that direction. And now we need to marry technology and tradition both to take India forward. As you said, we're planning to be the third largest economy in the world. Harvir Singh, thank you for joining us on the program today.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to a discussion, Union Cabinet Decisions. The participants were Harvir Singh, agriculture expert, and Dhawan Lal, anchor. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of Akashvani. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsdtalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289094044.